In this episode of Gun Talk Hunt, we've got Joe Ferronato up in Montana and Greg Ray in Oklahoma talking about field to table.
I'm KJ. You found the right place. We go all over this little blue orb, sharing stories and tactics about chasing wild game. Now, let's get on the hunt.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host on Gun Talk Hunt, KJ. And this episode is brought to you by Savage Arms and Range Ready Studios. For this episode, we're going to go from field to table, and we're going to do that all the way from Montana up where Joe Ferronato is and all the way down to Oklahoma where it's icy roads and slick conditions with Mr. Greg Ray of Outdoor Solutions. But with that, we're going to be talking a little bit more about your field to table, what you're doing this season, what you look forward to. Any lessons learned from this season that you have really dove into and accomplished this year that you want to share? That's what we want to hear on this episode. But from that, let's jump all the way up to Montana with Joe Ferronato. Joe, welcome in, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Man, I'm just glad you accepted because you're a tough guy to track down because you're always on the move. What are you doing here lately?
Man, I feel like I'm always on the move and maybe it's time to settle down a little bit. But I actually just took a new position working with Expedition Enterprises and the Given Right TV. A bunch of really solid guys who, are unapologetic about our God-given right to hunt. And they're an amazing crew. They do a great job. And right now I'm just getting worked into the fold over there and taking kind of a new path. So looking forward to it.
I mean, the guys over at Given Right, I mean, you guys do everything in between, like land management to marketing services to producing some TV shows and the Given Right and because Mark Heck, he does Team 200. Is that right?
I believe so, but don't quote me on that because I'm still new and learning everything
Yeah,
about Mark. He has so much in his portfolio, it's hard to keep track of.
it really is. And the Team 200 thing and the Given Right, man, I watched some of his stuff and you've got a slammer of a whitetail behind you, but I'm telling you, this guy's killing 200-inch deer like it's going out of style. Like he's mowing through them like Tic Tacs. It's incredible. It really
He
is.
he really is. It's amazing. He cares so much about land management and big whitetails and conservation and hunting. He's just a guru.
He is, and he's one of those guys. I spent a little bit of time with him at the Sig Hunter Games when he competed up there. He's one of these guys that you're a little bit jealous of because he's kind of good at everything he does. But I kind of find that about you because you were at Field Ethos at one time, doing content generation for them and all kinds of other things. But you are, man, you are one of the guys that does it right, and like Greg Ray, you really develop this love for taking it from stem to stern and doing everything yourself. Where's that passion born of, man?
Man, honestly, and I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. I do take a lot of pride in the way that I do stuff in the field, and it's something that I love to share with people. And I really think that's probably where the passion stems from. I love sharing my passions with friends and family. And I think that's what drives me to take such deep care of, game meat and the kills in the field because not only do I enjoy being out in the field, but I love those times around the kitchen table where I get to cook meals for friends and family and kind of share with them the ideas and the ideologies around what we're doing. And when you take good care of your game and your game meat, it just betters the experience for everybody. They really learn to appreciate what it is. I mean, I've never had anybody look at me and say, "Hey, that's a gamey piece of meat. I don't want to eat it."
Yeah, they're usually asking for more. That's what I find.
Yeah,
But yeah, that is an interesting thought as sharing it with others and really developing those friendships over a plate of food that you went out and you got yourself. I mean, it's something special that you can share with them. But man, this year it was funny. This year I took a buddy out and he's been going with me the past 5 years, and he was like, man, he goes, I didn't know you were planning on like cleaning the entire deer in the field. Like I was like, I'm not packing this thing out. Like I'm gonna strip it completely right here so it's lighter to carry out because like I don't carry a cart out and I don't have pack horses and stuff like that. That was the first time he had been part of like cleaning it out on the field. But I was also his first time cleaning it on the back of a tailgate, which he had never done. Like he's always like, you have to string it up. And are there any tips like that you've shared with first timers that like you find fascinating that you're like, I'm surprised you didn't know this?
Oh man, the list is plentiful there. I think one of the biggest things, like with first timers, especially people coming out west where I'm at, when I go out east, like hunting Oklahoma or Texas or something, and we get to hang a deer up, I'm like, I don't even know what to do right now. Like, what do I do with my hands? But like when guys come out and hunt with me, and I got first time hunters, are like, you see this big animal laying on the ground, and you don't even know where to start. Um, the first thing everybody says is it's time to gut it, and I haven't gutted an animal in a long time out west. I don't pull the guts out of anything. I do the gutless method. And everybody looks at me when I say the gutless method, their eyes just get huge and like, what do you mean? Everything I've ever seen about hunting, you have to pull the guts out.
Yep.
And I go, nope, we're just going to do one nice cut straight down the spine, pull skin off, pull all the meat off on the one side, flip it over, do the other side, and then we'll get the tenderloins after the fact.
Man,
And everybody is amazed that you can do that.
that's one of those processes that I introduced him to too. Is I'm like, man, I don't gut like because you see the guys coming out of the fields and they're up to their elbows in like blood and everything, and you're like, you didn't pack any gloves or you didn't do the gutless method. And they're like, the what? So give them give them a little bit more insight on the gutless method, and that there is one thing that I absolutely hate about the gutless method, and that's you don't get that heart. Like that's the
That's
one
your,
thing that I'm like, oh, come on. Like, that's so good.
Yeah, that is kind of a bummer part, but you could always get the heart after the fact, and it's a lot easier to gut when everything's out of the way.
True.
You know what I mean? Like it's a lot easier to get into that cavity. But like when you're doing the gutless method, I love it because, like I said, I put an animal on its side, do the cut straight down the spine of the hide. I pull the hide down on either side. And obviously, if you're going to cape the animal for a trophy, you have to be a little more strict about how you pull the skin off.
Yep.
But you just pull the skin down that one side, and then I just start pulling quarters. I always pull the front quarter first because it's so easy. That separation is easy, and it lets you move the animal around a little easier on that one side because you don't have that weight fighting you up front as much. Pull that hind quarter off, you're good to go. And then I pull the back straps, and I pull neck meat. I'm a big neck meat guy. I love having neck meat because I love roasts and I love ground meat.
Man,
A lot of people are like, I don't want neck meat, but I will take as much as I could possibly get off.
man, why wouldn't you want all that? I mean, like it's fantastic. I was gonna ask you like how far up the neck that you go, all the way up.
I go, yeah, I go all the way up. I take it all because I like making sausages, meat sticks, literally everything I can. I'll utilize that meat for, and I love slow cooked meals. And actually, I learned this on a outdoor solutions hunt in Texas about the way that I trim that meat. When you slow cook that stuff, you don't have to be as strict about cleaning everything off because it all kind of comes off in the cooking process when you slow cook it for all day.
Okay.
Um, so it just makes the whole process easier. And I
Well,
got Greg Ray to thank for that one.
I know he'll be appreciative of that, but I mean we can lean into that a little bit. There are a lot of courses out there that drive themselves towards like the beginner hunter, people who aren't really familiar with how things operate in the field and getting ready and transitioning them from start to a finished hunter almost. Um, Talk a little bit about maybe some of those courses because I know Greg offers some like from field to table like type courses, long range courses, all that good stuff. And there's other companies out there that do it. I know FTW is one of them that they offer kind of an intro course to it. But talk a little bit about your experience with the courses and would that help someone like shorten that learning curve?
Yeah, I think it would 100%. So I can't speak to all the different courses out there because I haven't been a part of them. Um, and we talk about new hunters and stuff going and doing these courses, and it is a great tool for them. But when I went and experienced the Outdoor Solutions field to table course, I mean that was just 4 or 5 years ago. Um, I felt like I was a very experienced hunter then, very experienced in my ways, and was like, it's kind of a cool thing to show that, new people could come do this, but very experienced hunters can go take these courses and learn something that they had no idea about. Because the way that the chefs line everything out after the hunt, excuse me, after the hunting process is over and you're doing the butchering process and the cooking process, you're learning new minute details that are often just passed up by somebody with a lot of experience.
Dude, that's awesome. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to talk to Outdoor Solutions and Greg Ray.
Looking to trim a few LBs out of your pack or just your firearm? Check out the Savage 110 Carbon Predator. 2 swing swivel studs, matte black carbon steel receiver, 2-piece Weaver style bases, proof research barrel. Yeah, it's carbon wrap, so that's where some of the weight savings is going to come. And you won't be disappointed because they offer it in a lot of different variations. 6mm arc, 223 Remington, 22-250, a favorite of mine, 308, 65 Creedmoor, and 300 Blackout. Now, you're talking about weight. You're talking about, well, how much really is it going to weigh? Trust me, you're going to be able to carry this thing all day. It's under that 7-pound range, so I promise you it's accurate too. So trust Savage 110 Carbon Predator for all your weight savings. Tired of your range time being just mag dumps and Instagram flexing? Enter Range Ready Training, where Director of Awesomeness and everything else, Chris Serino, turns keyboard warriors into actual warriors. Or something like that. Pretty dang close, I would say. Yeah, the guy's been there, done that. Pistol, check. Rifle, check. Yeah, we got it all. Force on force. We do that every now and then, too. Bring your bruises, instructor development. Welcome to the Thunderdome of learning. It's more than training. It's range ready because real life doesn't come with a respawn button.
All right, we're back, and we're talking field to table. We're talking about the processes that make us better in the field, that we bring home more meat, because the goal is never to leave anything in the field. We want to utilize everything that we've got. And to help shorten the learning curve and advance your skills, Greg Ray, Outdoor Solutions, welcome in, man.
Man, thanks for having me on here. You didn't tell me he's going to have me on here with an A-lister like Joe.
I'm telling you, man, like when I shorten the list of guys that I look up to in the industry as far as like how to do things professionally and just at the highest level, you two guys have to be at the top 5 for sure. So I'm excited to have both of you guys on here.
Well, that's
I'm
awesome,
in good
man.
company.
I'm happy to be here, man. I appreciate it.
Well, talk a little bit about Outdoor Solutions and kind of what you guys have on tap this year, and then let's lead into the conversation of how hunters like me can enjoy these classes and get out of it, and how you can shorten that learning curve.
Yeah, so we're just constantly evolving, man. It seems like we always have something new coming on. We've got 4 awesome chefs on staff with us now, and then with this new Oklahoma location, it's really going to open up a lot of new opportunities for us. We've got a new ranch called the Crossbell that's got it's comprised of 52,000 acres. And the owners have been, we've been extremely blessed. The family has been kind enough to build us just a world-class processing center for our field-to-table events. So that's the new thing that's on tap there that you'll be hearing quite a bit about here pretty soon. We'll have some guys like yourself and Joe come out and share with their audiences of what we've got going on.
52,000 acres?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, so it's obviously you're a fellow Okie, so it's just right outside of Bartlesville, but the ranch actually is so large it actually goes into Kansas, and on the property itself we've got those Kansas quality bucks on there as well. They're going to be pretty
Okay.
selective of how many gets to be hunted, but we've got lots and lots of does on there and a lot of management deer that need to go from the field to our freezer.
Well, if you guys are listening to this, like I will tell you, the area that he is talking about produces some of the best whitetail genetics in Oklahoma. And if you don't know, I don't like to talk a whole lot more about Oklahoma because I don't want everybody flooding the state, but it is a phenomenal place to go. So if you're looking for, man, if you're looking for there, you might not find a better opportunity to harvest a trophy deer than right there. Oh my gosh, 52,000 acres, that in itself, that's
Oh,
a big stretch.
it's just absolutely gorgeous. You know what that part of the state looks like, but and then on top of that, just all the history that is there with that specific ranch. So you may remember KJ says actually was the Mullendore Crossbill Ranch, and
Yeah.
now they are the Teagues are the first family that were Mullendores that now own the ranch, and they've had it for 6 years now,
Okay.
and they're just doing some incredible stuff. They're really big on the educational side of anything outdoors. Really big on doing things with kids and with veterans as well. So it
Yeah.
ended up being just a really cool partnership for us.
So how does this work? So let's say you're an advanced hunter, you're a beginner hunter, someone who wants to just better themselves, field the table. How does a course traditionally like go for outdoor solutions?
Yeah. So Joe said it really well there. Obviously, he's an experienced hunter, but he still learned something. When you get somebody like Chef Albert, who is our head chef, is has a couple of decades of not just being a chef but a culinary instructor, so he knows how to teach really well, and how to get his point across. So if it's somebody that is experienced like yourself or Joe or myself, you're still going to go in there and learn something. But my favorite part is the new people that are coming in that are brand new. And the number one thing that we always hear is it's intimidating. Learning how to hunt
Yeah.
is intimidating. You're dealing with firearms. Where do you go? You just go walk through the woods with your gun and shoot the first thing that comes up. It doesn't work that way. But the other thing is the people that learn to hunt and they're on their own on their very first, or maybe not necessarily their first hunt, but the first time they get an animal down by themselves and they walk up to it, and then the intimidation factor walks is like, now what? I've got to
Yeah.
get those insides on the outside. So I'll sidetrack here just a little bit. I'm the opposite of what you and Joe talked about. I've done the gutless method one time in my life, and that was because we were being shadowed by a mountain lion on an elk hunt in New Mexico,
Cool.
and so we wanted to get it done as quick as myself and Lindsay Moss that works for us. It's been years ago, but I'm just old school and take the insides out, and we always pull the heart and most of the time the liver as well. So we go that way. But the newer people, the first time, that's a very daunting task, to be able to do something like that. And so with this process, the new people get to be in a field to table. They get to be with a guide, and the guide will show them how they do it. As y'all know, man, there's dozens and dozens of different ways to do it. And I still learn something new every time from a different guy. It's like, oh, that's a cool method. I'll give that a try next time. But they'll learn how to field dress one, and then they'll learn how to skin it, and they'll realize that it's not near as tough as what they had in their head. And then, like the process that Joe went through, you get to spend some time with the chef, and then you're going to learn how to, completely butcher muscle identification, break down to each individual muscle, do some processing, make some sausage, make some, snack sticks or whatever. Then they go home with a cooler full of wild game at at the end of the last day.
Now that's the way to do it. Like being able to identify, because I've never gone out with someone in the field who's like a chef or a butcher. I've never done that. But I know, like, okay, these are your core muscle groups that you need to get. I know all the pieces, but man, to understand like how, and there's different ways to cook. There's different stuff that makes better, you know, like roast. There's different spots that make better jerky. So being able to identify those is always really nice. But I've never been out with someone who's like, all right, here's, this is the cut you want to make in order to separate like a round tip, like anything like that. Now that's cool. That's where I think like most hunters, like we know, get the quarters, get the back straps, tenderloins, chop off some, neck meat, and you're good to go.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't know everybody's gonna have the opportunity to do this, but if you ever get the opportunity to hunt with a chef,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. So this past December, I just did a hunt with Chef Joe in New Mexico. It was myself, and then a guy you all may know, Ian McCullum from Forgotten Weapons, was with us, and we were doing a cow elk hunt in New Mexico. And I was just along for the ride. I was kind of guide / cameraman, and Joe put one down on the very first morning, and to watch him dismantle it. I mean, we were on an extreme steep slope, and how he turned it around because he guts it as well. So he turned it around so the head's up, all the guts, fall down, go downhill instead of uphill so that you're not having to fight it. But the way that he took it apart, he's thinking recipes in his head. He's like, okay, we're gonna do the front shoulder this way because I want to do a barbacoa or whatever it is that he wanted to do, and we're gonna do the back strap this way or the hind quarter this way because he's thinking recipes. Yeah, he's thinking how he wants to prepare it as we're doing it. And of course, he's doing everything extremely clean. He was doing like what Joe had mentioned earlier. He's laying one side of the hide over so that once we roll it over, it doesn't get dirty. Of course, we've got our game bags and all that kind of stuff. But to watch their mentality and their thinking process when they're doing that is just absolutely next level.
Here's what I would like to see. If I come to an event with you guys, here's what I want. I want the chef there just pointing out and instructing where I need to cut and everything, but I want him over there with a grill, like cooking as I'm taking off. I'll just hand him a piece of meat and he just starts cooking it right there. Like, that's what I think. That's my goal. Like, man, it's like it could not be any fresher. Like from there to there.
So we could do that with the heart. You were talking about the heart earlier. We could pull the heart out and do that right on the spot. That's about the only muscle that you would actually want to cook the same day that you were butchering it.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. So, do you guys deal with any like dry aging or anything like that? Do you guys talk about that during the class?
We do. We're actually putting together a new program that's more advanced butchering, and we won't even have the idea is we won't even have. Sorry, we won't even have a hunt involved. It'll just it'll be advanced butchering, and we will get into some of the dry aging. We'll get into some of the sausage making, all the different types of sausage that can be done, whether it's fresh or one of the other methods.
Man, that it sounds absolutely incredible. I'd like to bring Joe back into the conversation. What are the misconceptions that people need to get over? What are some of those that you guys see within our space? Joe, we can start with you if you want.
Oh man, you put me on the spot there.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of misconceptions, right? But I really think people need to focus on the fact that yes, it is intimidating, but it's not impossible. And they really need to get over the I can't do it phase. Yeah. I took a couple of new hunters out this last elk season in Idaho, and they never wanted to leave my side because it's like, I can't do this without you. It's like, yes, you can. Yeah. You can go do this. And, there's obviously a lot of tools out there for them to learn how to do it. And obviously it is nice to learn with somebody, but I really don't like it when people come into this space just going, I can't do it. Because, when I first started hunting, the first time I killed a deer, I had my dad with me and some help. But after that, I just went full bore into it, trying to learn myself. Yeah. The next deer I killed after my first deer, I was on my own. And the next one after that, the first elk I killed was on my own. And, as long as you're trying to do it, you have the idea, I have to take all this meat and get it home. Yeah. You're going to learn the best ways to do it, even if there's no one there guiding you. If you have your task set in front of you and go, hey, I need to get this meat out, or I need to get the insides out of this animal. How am I going to do that? And just start chipping away at it. You can do it on your own. So even if you don't have the means to, or the help to learn up front, don't say it's impossible, because you can do it on your own.
Dude, I love that. I love that response because that's somewhat of what I was thinking too. Almost exactly in line. Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'll just highlight just a little bit more on that because I agree 100% with what Joe was saying. Is it's not as hard as you think it as it's going to be. So I'll talk specifically about the butchering side, just because that was my excuse. Is like I don't have the time to process my own deer, my own elk, whatever it is I'm
Yeah.
hunting. And once we started Field to Table, which that was in 2019, so we're coming up on 7 years now that we started this. That was my excuse, So pack something out and drop it off the processor, and that was the end of my experience. I'd say, hey, give me some steaks, some roast, and grind the rest. I couldn't have told you the difference from a flat iron to eye around, where they came from, what the cooking method was, or anything. Yeah. And now we're ripping through a deer or elk in an hour or less. If it's an elk, obviously it's going to take a little bit longer, but a deer, we're going through pretty quick. And there's a lot of resources out there. So, even if you never come to one of our classes, go to the YouTube University, and there's a lot of different ways. You may see a few wrong ways on there, but there's a lot of good information out there, and it's not near as hard as what you think it's going to be. You build that up in your head,
Man, I couldn't agree more. All right, guys, I think that's it for us. But Joe, where do they find out more about Expedition Enterprises?
Go to thegivenright.com, social media and everything as well, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You can follow us all and see what we're up to. So lots of fun adventures, and watch Mark Heck probably put another 200-inch deer on the ground.
That's absolutely incredible. I'm a little bit jealous, but I definitely admire him for sure, and I admire you. And, dude, you just keep doing what you're doing. Greg, where do they find out more about Outdoor Solutions?
So two main places. One, you just go to our main website, which is from fieldtotable.com. And then if you go into YouTube, just put in Outdoor Solutions and then click on the From Field to Table playlist. Tons of great videos from Chef Witch on there, from butchering, processing, and cooking.
And what's even better is if you go onto that Outdoor Solutions onto YouTube, they don't only have like field to table stuff. He does offer long range courses. And I have watched a bunch of videos from him to learn a little bit more about long range shooting, and I do appreciate it, Greg. Thank you so much, guys. All right, you know the drill. Keep those muzzles pointing in a safe direction, and always be on the hunt.